Tulsi Gabbard discusses the lessons of the Iraq War. Taking the Hill with Patrick Murphy, Sunday at 1 on MSNBC.
Tonight, there's new backlash to Paul Ryan's war on the poor. The congressman is still trying to explain away those offensive comments, blaming poverty on a culture of men not working in inner cities.
We have got this tailspin of culture in our inner cities in particular, of men not working, and just generations of men not even thinking about working or learning the value and the culture of work. And so there's a real culture problem here that has to be dealt with.
Ryan later said those comments were inarticulate, but he never actually apologized for it. And now at town halls back home, voters in his own district are calling him out for it. Check out what this man said to Ryan in a powerful confrontation caught on tape.
Next day you said that statement was inarticulate. Well, I don't believe that. You said what you meant, fine. The bottom line is this. This statement was not true. I'm going to point it out to you why it wasn't true. That's a code word for black.
So number one, there is nothing whatsoever about race in my comments at all. It had nothing to do with race. Race has nothing to do with this. This is about getting people to work.
Tonight, it's clear a lot of people aren't buying what Congressman Ryan is selling, including some of his own constituents. Joining me now is Congresswoman Gwen Moore, Democrat from Wisconsin. Thanks for being here, Congresswoman.
Thank you for having me, Reverend Al.
You signed a letter to Ryan from the Congressional Black Caucus. It says in the letter your comments were highly offensive, and you invite him to one of your caucus meetings. Based on what he said in that town hall, do you have more questions for Congressman Ryan?
Well, just let me say this, Reverend Al. He says that it was very inarticulate. It is very, very difficult for him to say that there weren't racial overtones when particularly, as we've pointed out to him, he referenced Charles Murray, and we all know Charles Murray has blatantly said that black people are inferior. His reference to the inner city males is definitely a proxy for black men. But having said that, the Congressional Black Caucus wants to treat this as an opportunity to really look at the culture that has prevented black men from working. I mean, you talked about it earlier in your earlier segment, the lack of affordable health care. The lack of transportation has haunted many black men in terms of finding jobs. The lack of adequate educational opportunity, where you're not just compiling these worthless certificates, but you're actually getting the education and job training that will provide you with educational, with job opportunity. And of course, we cannot ignore the culture of bigotry, discrimination and racism that has prevented African Americans from getting jobs, and certainly can't discount the everything from an uneven criminal justice system that targets black men and other sort of cultural problems that lie outside of the character of black men. And we are inviting Congressman Ryan to challenge his own assumptions about the character of black men. Let's have a jobs program like the 10, 20, 30 jobs program that was articulated and designed by Representative Clyburn that would provide real opportunities to poor men and women living in urban and rural areas, Democrats and Republicans all over the country.
Yeah. Let me go back to this town hall, because here's more of the exchange related to the GOP makers versus takers rhetoric. Listen to this.
Everybody worked. You got here in a car or a truck or something, somebody from the inner city helped make that.
Sometimes when you're on radio, you try to take a bunch of ideas and collapse it into a couple sentences, and you oversimplify, and it can be misinterpreted. That's what's happened here.
Now it's oversimplified, yet he had time to mention Charles Murray and others. Your response to that statement?
Well, I can tell you that Representative Ryan has been sitting at the tables of the very powerful and wealthy for many, many years. He's still a very young man. And so we, as members of the Congressional Black Caucus, again, we're going to see this as an opportunity to take someone who is a very powerful member of Congress, the chairman of the Budget Committee, may soon be either the ranking member or chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, and really get him to challenge his assumptions and to look at the problems of inner city men as something other than poor character. But, so that when he puts a budget together and does not want to provide a jobs program, for example, his colleagues will not vote for a jobs program that the president has continued to offer. And when, we want to take him up on this challenge and say, will black men work if they're given the opportunity?
Well, we'll be watching, Congresswoman. Congresswoman Gwen Moore, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you too, Reverend Al.
Still ahead, the new daylight